Hi everyone, and welcome to another InfraView Spotlight series, InfraViewing. I'm absolutely delighted to have Luke Warren, Delivery Director at Node4 with us today. So a little bit around Node4, for those that aren't aware, I'm sure you are. They deliver a very powerful technology and IT solution to customers with an exceptional service, and they have huge relationships with market-leading vendors like Microsoft, Cisco, Fortinet, and many others. Also being an Azure expert MSP and inner circle status. So some of the technology I'm sure Luke will touch on in a bit more detail, but it's a huge array of Microsoft, Azure Cloud, managed hosting, networking, SD-WAN connectivity, hosted telephony, storage virtualization, and more. I tried to sum that up in less than a minute, Luke, but listen, mate, thank you so much for joining. And I know you're a busy man, but how's it going?
No, thank you for having me. First and foremost, I think you've pretty much done my job for me already. So, so thank you for that.
No worries. Listen, look, let's kind of kick things off for the wider audience. You want to give us a quick intro, I suppose, on yourself, your career, sort of so far.
Okay, yeah, by all means. So, well, I think my career is quite unconventional, maybe in the sense of where I've ended up to where I started or where I planned to start was a slightly different direction. So I grew up in in Derbyshire in a rural village. So not really much access to technology. Although I did have, I think when I was around 15, 14, I did have a Amstrad 464 for Christmas. I can't remember. Don't know if you remember those with the tape deck that you'd have that horrendous sound where you load things in.
Yeah, we're showing our age now.
Absolutely. I also remember, and maybe this, in fact, in hindsight, this probably put me off a technology. I remember the booklet and typing in like hours of code to press enter, then the screen would go blue, green, red, yellow, and you think, wow. And what one digit wrong, and then you're back to the beginning. But that I suppose was my first experience in technology. But I grew up in the Air Cadets actually. So the Air Cadets was my passion. I wanted to join the Air Cadets when I was a young age. So from probably the age of 12, I think I was, I joined the Air Cadets and stayed in there till leaving school. I wanted to be in the RAF. But back in the day when we had 2 weeks worth of work experience, and I say that because my 16-year-old son has just had 1 week's worth of experience at Node4 actually, we had to choose two different organisations. So my first choice was the RAF. As you can imagine, I went to RAF Scampton, and actually on my 15th birthday, I was flying chipmunks, believe it or not, doing loop the loops, barrel rolls, which is extraordinary. So absolutely made me fall more so in love with the RAF. But I also went and did a local engineering technology experience as well, which was my kind of secondary option. But when I left school, unfortunately, the RAF rejected my application because I had asthma as a child, which I'm not sure that would be an issue in today's day and age. But so I had to kind of fall back on my secondary option, which was engineering technology. I joined something called Nadita training, I think from memory, that gave me like a foundational qualification. Then I applied for an apprenticeship. So I was successful with this apprenticeship. And it took me all around the country, actually. Nationally, I was up and down the country. In fact, I remember one of the projects I was working on was for the Sultan of Brunei in Kensington, London. That was a bit of an eye-opener. But yeah, I did my time as an apprentice, 4 or 5 years. I think it took me maybe a year into that. I decided, well, actually, I think I can do something myself in and around this space. And not that I wasn't inspired by the managers and leaders that I was working with, but I thought I could bring a slightly different dynamic. So I decided at the ripe old age of 22, I will try and set up my own organisation, which is what I did. So I set up an engineering consultancy kind of contracting business, and over 7 years I run that really successfully. I had around 37 employees, engineers and consultants working for me up and down the country, different contracts. I just took on my first £1 million contract, which was crazy. And then
That's
2008 hit, and I think we all know what happened then in
Yeah, whole world
2008.
crashed.
So the world went a little bit crazy. So for a number of reasons, I decided to take my skill set, and I wanted to take it to a kind of an established organisation, someone that I could learn and grow with. So I found an opportunity with a company called Interserve.
Okay.
Interserve was a global brand. They've been rebadged now, I think, to Tilbury Douglas or something like that. But at the time, there was 85,000 employees. I joined them. I delivered multiple multi-million-pound projects across the health sector, the education sector, and some notable projects actually was at the time we delivered the largest clinical trial centre in Europe, and I also delivered the first cystic fibrosis purpose-built unit in the UK. But I also wore another hat, so I had the opportunity, because of the way that I think and my drive for efficiencies, better ways of working. I'm a natural problem solver. I find myself finding problems only because I see opportunities. But I also wore a hat to be our national kind of innovation best practice lead. So within that role, I was working with the directors up and down the country, looking at efficiencies, better ways of working, and just implementing different kind of like efficiencies through process, automation. Back in the day, prefabrication was something that was just kind of coming to ground. So we were exploring prefabrication. But it just really opened up my kind of creative juices, really, to think about how I could, I see things slightly different. So wanting to make sure that we got commonality and standard ways of working up and down the organisation. But I think, ultimately, for me personally, my career has always been, I've never really aspired to be anything in particular. I've never aimed high. And the reason for that, I'm a very competitive person, competitive with my soul. So I've always I've always wanted to be the best person I can possibly be in any role that I've got. If that then opens up opportunities, then I would consider those opportunities. But I think certainly in my journey, I think if you aim too high, you miss out the most important piece, which is the journey, right? The journey is how we grow, what leads us to the people that we are today, and those learnings, certainly in the world that I live in at the moment, which is delivery. I speak many times. I'll speak to my members of my team, and I talk about, don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's about identifying risks or issues early before they become real problems. And that's the learning journey in a lot of industries. But that's took me to where I am today, which is working for Node4.
Do you know what? I love that. And I wrote down when you said that sort of journey, it's the bit in the middle where we learn, right? So whether we fail and overcome that and unearth those sort of strengths that we either don't usually have to use or don't even know we've got. And I'm constantly saying that, funny enough, a lot of my staff where, certainly within a sales environment as well, people are constantly fixed on that end result because you do a deal, you make money, or in your world, you provide a solution, you deliver a project, you deploy it. It's great, the customer's happy, but actually, let's not forget that bit in the middle. Let's not forget how it got us to that point, what we learned throughout that process. And more importantly, what could we have done better, right? Because we always want to empower others that are potentially less experienced than us or, are struggling at certain points to get to the same result. Yeah, I love that. It's that learning bit. For me, going from A to B, because B is just once you've completed it, it's actually that bit in the middle where we learn, become better. We're able to, hopefully unearth those strengths that we never usually had. So, yeah, no, perfect. And you were coming on to, I suppose, you talked about how you pivoted from, not getting from the RFA to then going into the world of IT. So how did you get into the industry as you are now, in that sort of MSP sort of IT solution by the world?
Yeah, and what a world it is, technology. I mean, what a
Well, yeah,
world
did
it
you not?
is.
You probably didn't imagine that when you were seeing multiple colours coming up, tapping code on an Amstrad.
Absolutely. But again, going back to my school days, I mean, to this day, school friends, family, I don't know anybody that is in technology. And I thought I was a bit of a techie because I used to. I mean, I remember when Raspberry Pis came out, and I was putting some codes on there and kind of tried to create TVs through mini computers and playing about, looking at things online. I used to love playing about with this stuff. And then when I joined Node4 and I met some proper techies, wow, did
Yeah.
that blow my mind. But how did I get into Node4? So I actually, I was fortunate really. I met, over 10 years ago, I met the current at the time CEO, Andrew Gilbert,
Okay.
at an event. We got talking. He was telling me about his journey into tech. So he's a true techie at heart. I mean, he blows my mind with some of the stuff that I've seen him do. But I think Node4 at the time was around 10 years old. But he was talking to me around how they growed organically and some of their client base and the products and services that they were delivering, and also what the next step looked like for them. And interestingly, what he was looking for and what Node4 was looking for is to set up a delivery department function.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, well, guess what? Let me tell you about
These
my
were unprepared earlier.
experience. It was almost like destiny. So we had a conversation around what my experience was, and lo and behold, I joined Node4 at I think I was a 50 employee 55 at the time.
Okay.
But I joined to set up a department, and do you know what? It was a bit of a culture shock for me. And I tell this story quite a few times really to new employees into my team, and certainly through some of the acquisitions, we've got some really good, smart technical project managers in my team. And I was absolutely in my comfort zone before I joined Node4, and I'd set up my own business. I'm a very autonomous person. I figure things out.
Yeah.
I'm happy to kind of reach out and look at industry methodologies and standards. I've done like so much training and academic kind of follow up on that. But I think common sense and having a sensible, pragmatic approach to things is what gets you places. So once I'd understood what Node4 sell, deliver, support, and I'm speaking with some of these technical people, I'm thinking, wow, this is mind-blowing stuff. This is not just broadband to your home. This has got layers of firewalls and switches and so I'm having to think, right, well, where's my comfort zone? My comfort zone is actually working with these people to get the best out of these people, working with clients to understand what their objectives are, and really leaning on my core experience of managing people, delivering projects, leading people through kind of excellence. And that was a kind of always a real big reflection to me. You almost take for granted what you know and what you do. And maybe some cases we become intimidated by the unknown. But over time, I've really started to understand the need of leaning on our technical people. I really understand the need to leverage our experience, and where we do cross paths, it's just added benefits. It's extra strings to our bow. But I've kind of thrown myself right into the deep end in some cases. So when I think maybe 5 or 6 years ago, we moved into SD-WAN. And do you know what? Even though I was leading a huge team, I wanted to learn what SD-WAN meant to us as a business and to our clients. So I actually delivered our very first SD-WAN project just because I wanted to embrace the technology. And I also wanted to see what our opportunities were. So for efficiencies, and I think sometimes we look at technology and think it's almost a out-the-box service, but there's so many different flavors that we can offer when we think about the complexities and the opportunities with services, certainly with that SD-WAN. So I wanted to make sure that we covered all options. Our clients could make informed decisions, and we could take on projects in a sense that allowed them to meet their end objectives and goals from a project perspective. So yeah, 10 years I've been with Node4 now, just over. and my depth of technical knowledge is crazy compared to where I started, but it's nowhere near the breadth that some of our technical people have.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And look, 10 years, right? That's a fantastic service, and this is what I love about the space that we work in. Things can just happen if you put yourself out there. Like you said, you're sitting at an event. You met Andrew. You were probably looking for something different, something that was challenging, and then suddenly, yeah, role just that's perfectly suited to you. Capturing two things, because you mentioned, look, love managing people, but also delivering projects. And actually, you don't often see that. You can see people that are great managers, and then they've got someone else that will then deliver for them, or haven't got that mindset or that growth mindset to look at empowering people, managing, leading people, but also always thinking about the project being delivered, within time, within budget, or whether it be a division growth, etc. So yeah, no, I absolutely love that, and yeah, also your honesty around when going into Node4 and being surrounded by some fantastic technologists, some real inspirational people, from a leadership and technology perspective. I think that's really key in the MSP and IT solution provider world. We can't just be too tech and forget the people side, or we can't just be all about people and not have the technology expertise to back up what we're delivering. So yeah, I absolutely love that. And 10 years, congrats. I'm sure you've delivered a huge amount, but also learned a lot. And your humbleness around sort of you're far from knowing it all, and I think that's important. I think we should always be looking to grow and remain teachable, right? And the moment we stand still, it's kind of like, yeah, I'm done, and there's nothing really to look forward to. So no, I love that. Look, that's a really good overview. Thank you. Just in terms of your career, where how you come into it, where you're at today. Let's bring it back to Node4 as a business, just for the wider audience. And do you want to tell us a little bit more around the sort of core focus for the business right now?
Yes. So I suppose we're in changing times at the moment. I would suggest we're building from a good, solid foundation. The reason I would say that is so in Q2 this FY, we made some organisational changes. We wanted to leverage our area of expertise in our kind of technology and our delivery capabilities. So we created two divisions in Node4 now. So we have a managed service delivery, which is where I lead from a delivery director perspective, and then we have a digital division.
Right.
So I have a peer. He's got a guy called Keith McDonald. I work very, very closely with. Really good guy. So although we are leading different teams, we are always hand in hand. There's lots of crossover, lots of knowledge share, but we are absolutely leveraging our technology focus and leveraging our expertise from a delivery perspective. Some people may think project delivery is project delivery. It's not. There are so many different flavors, and there are different skill sets that are required in different types of projects. So, and we've also got, I'm sure you're aware, we've got a new CEO. So Richard Moser joined us in December, and
Yep.
I've had a number of engagement with Richard. I'm really excited around what he's going to bring us to the business. He's got some great vision and some
Really
huge
good guy.
experience. So,
Yep.
I mean, I think Rapid7 was there for 10 years. Similar journey to Node4, acquisitions, bringing the best out of those organizations. Spent, I think, 10 years as well around in Quest Software. But yeah, what he's bringing to the business at the moment in terms of that strategic focus and getting the best out of our capabilities and our opportunities it's exciting. It's refreshing. It's exciting times. And I mean, our president now, our old CEO, so he's really in his sweet spot now, really enjoying looking at the technology and making sure we're at the forefront of what's round the corner and making sure that we're kind of our first and best in class at delivering these services. So I think we've got the ingredients now of an absolute unbelievable journey in our next chapter. So I'm super, super pumped and super excited.
I love that. And look, I think it's important that, any business, regardless of how long they've been going, it's all about that bit of a refresh, I think we're very good at attracting talent in, whether it be managed services, professional services, engineering, consultancy, project management, but, where's the bar above? where a company's investing in that level up, where people like yourself at your level can feel empowered, can continue to learn, and like that refreshing extra bit of weight to any business, I think it's really key. And certainly Richard has brought that. Looking at his background and knowing what he's achieved over the years as well, that's only going to complement Node4 in a huge way. So just in terms of, I suppose actually, no, I was going to talk about the perfect client, but just where you mentioned managed services and digital services. So just the tech focus within those two, how are they sort of split?
So as a very simple rule of thumb,
Yeah.
I have a very simple rule of thumb. Besides application and client experience platforms,
Yep.
if it has some managed service offerings, then typically it comes through my area. So we also do outsourcing from an ITSM managed service perspective. We're really good at leveraging our kind of capabilities in that space. Infrastructure services, a lot of these things go hand in hand. So most of our projects start with good infrastructure, right? And if a client doesn't have a good solid infrastructure, then we provide that service in many different kind of flavors. But Biz Apps is one of our real kind of leading market application technologies. Some of the stuff that those guys create over there absolutely blows my mind. which is why we really wanted to kind of leverage that and build that out in a more kind of technology focused perspective. But things like Azure migrations, SD-WAN, as I mentioned before, security posture, doing loads around security at the moment. We've got a new SOC, a new team driving security offerings, and again, this is an area that's absolutely going to grow. I mean, who doesn't need security in today's day and age? And look, let's not forget about some of the stuff that probably gets forgotten about a little bit around kind of collaboration. So Microsoft Teams, WebEx calling, modern work generally. I mean, we offer so many services, and they are all intertwined. We can offer such an end-to-end connected service and solution, and I think that's ultimately why a lot of clients come to us in the first instance, because I know almost in one respect there's pros and cons coming to an organisation that can do everything, but you've got real assurances with Node4 because of the connectivity that we have between each of our services and solutions, so dependent on good infrastructure. And again, when those services are up and live, what you need is a good ITSM service that's going to keep the lights on, give you the confidence that you as an organisation can run and have the confidence in being able to run. And that's what I think one of we've changed our marketing strategy recently, and I think it's around to allow our clients to do more. It's a strong message. I mean, it's a slight change from, I mean, everything that we do is about our clients, enabling them to do more business as usual. But ultimately, that's what we're here for, is to make sure that clients can operate and deliver the services that they're here for. We're here to support them from an IT infrastructure and service perspective.
Brilliant. Absolutely. Look, and look, you mentioned, there's a huge sort of technology landscape that you guys offer, and why not? If you've got the expertise, experience to back it up, then it means you can go into customers and clients and look at their whole entire framework from a IT infrastructure perspective. And I love the fact you mentioned, we're not mentioning too much around the sort of the Teams and the WebEx, because I think we've kind of got used to that as a daily part of our lives, right? We're just constantly now at a click of a button able to speak to anyone around the world. But love the fact that you guys are driving all of that latest cutting edge technologies. And for those that are listening, it's like, well, at Node4 right now, if you're a small, medium or large customer, you need anything to do with managed services, network as a service, digital transformation around that sort of cloud, Azure, SD-WAN connectivity, then absolutely, Node4 can engage and have a conversation around it, which kind of leads me quite perfectly onto my next question around the perfect client. what does that look like for Node4 in terms of whether it be size, vertical, whatever?
Good question. And I would imagine there's many different answers to this, depending on who you ask.
The
Certainly
easy ones that spend loads of money.
yeah. I would say if I put my Node4 hat on, I would suggest mid-market organizations is still our sweet spot, which we do a lot of support with. I suppose typically organizations that are outgrowing or have outgrown their IT departments, organizations that are looking to leverage digital transformation and growth. So some of the projects that we deliver to clients is mainly around headroom, so giving them opportunity to grow and expand and so on. But my answer would be, so what do I think are the perfect clients?
You tell us, Luke. Take your Node4 hat off now. Come on,
I am being selfish now.
Be selfish.
But my personal favorite kind of clients are those that are either come to us with a problem or just starting their digital transformation journey. And they kind of take one or two services off us, and we deliver that. We deliver it well. We build up rapport, relationships, and then they take a third service off us. And it's that partnership that I like, the partnership. So we learn from clients as well as providing clients with our expertise. And when I say we learn from clients, we learn from their business challenges. We learn from how they want to engage with us to deliver projects. In example, we will deliver some projects with a client who might have a really good, strong PMO office, and they've got a project manager that has a real set of requirements. I absolutely love those projects because really, really like to get a well-balanced, governed project together and delivering effectively, executing on good project management methodologies. But we also have clients that, let's say a CTO or an IT director is wanting us to deliver a service. Do they want to get into the detail of project detail, KPIs? Not really. They want to have the confidence that we're delivering to the end objective. They want to be informed of any changes, kept up to date with that. But in all different flavors, we build up this partnership. And there's still, oh God, I could name quite a few. There's many clients that we still have that I started delivering projects for back 10 years ago.
Wow.
And we are still delivering projects for them today. So multiple service being provided. But it's that partnership for me again. We build up relationships at all levels. So exec level, senior level, delivery level. I love it when we get a new order come through. Let's just say we've not delivered a project for 6 months for a client, and they've got this new opportunity, and they specifically ask for a set of project manager, a set of engineer, architect. That's because we've built up such a good partnership and rapport with them.
Definitely.
And even if we're not delivering projects, we still have this technical kind of strategy relationship with them from an account management or from a technical architecture perspective. We're always looking with our clients at the roadmap. How can we help you? Where do you want to be in 6, 12, 18 months' time? Because we are the translators of the technology market. We can help our clients drive new technology to drive efficiencies, better ways of working, and again, give them that headroom. So they're my favorite kind of clients. They're the ones that we can grow with and they leverage most of our services.
Yeah, look, and that makes.
I kind of feel like that was a sales pitch, and I'll probably be in the good books from our sales.
Do you know what? Not at all. It's like one of those ones we can just say, mid-market, X amount of users that want X, Y, and Z technology. Well, yeah, that's a standard answer. But look, I love that. What stood out there was partnership, almost going on a journey. So it doesn't matter if you're at the beginning of your digital transformation or you've kind of already started, got stuck, or actually you're an existing customer and you've been using Node4 for X amount of years in one area, but actually let's start introducing other areas that will complement that client a little bit more, allowing them to operate more efficiently, etc. So yeah, no, I think that's brilliant. And again, I use the word, I love the way you said translate that sort of technology solution or that technology journey. And I think that's really important. I think where some businesses are going wrong, where it's kind of just like one hat fits all type of solution, where that's just not the case in the world that we live in today. Technology is always changing. Some clients aren't ready for it. Some clients, have that fear of change where they're used to a certain infrastructure and technology working a certain way. And then suddenly someone comes in and says, we're going to rip that out, change it with this, and it's going to run like that. They might not be ready, and actually taking them on that journey, translating that technology transformation and showing them, like you said, what it looks like 6, 12, 18 months down the line. It's reassuring, and that absolutely screams out with you guys. So, and I hear that time and time again when I speak to anyone that talks about Node4. All they talk about is that exceptional service. They talk about that leading with the latest cutting edge technology, but not steering away from actually what a lot of clients may not be ready for. So it's understanding what the client's needs are for executing that sort of solution and service. So I love that. Brilliant. And in terms of challenges, because look, I can imagine when you're offering so many solutions across so many technologies into clients that are at different stages of their journey, because they're not always suddenly going to pop up and go, great, we need this now. That comes with challenges. So what are a few challenges, or one particular one that you've had to overcome in the last 12 months, whether it be industry, client, technology?
I mean, COVID seems like forever away, but COVID was.
But we're still talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, COVID shaped us into the organization we are today.
Love that.
It was strange for everybody, right? But for us, we went into acceleration mode. We worked so hard through COVID because we had to support our clients. There were so many of our clients that needed a different model on how to execute their organization. Certainly from work from home models. Certainly the health sector. We've got many health sector clients. Logistical clients as well had a huge amount of influx. So many things linked to COVID. But the first 12, 18 months for COVID for us was huge. We learned how to be more dynamic, to work together, to leverage kind of remote working ourselves, because that was strange for us as an organization. But again, that shaped us into where we are today. And I suppose, I think the most recent challenge that we had, are still having, but I would say it's a good challenge to have, is bringing the best out of all the acquisitions that we had over the last kind of 2 or 3 years. And the reason I say it's a good challenge to have is these are all successful businesses in their own right. They've all got their own ways of working, very close to Node4, culturally all very similar. And over the last 12 months or so, we've been really integrating teams. So again, even though we have made a commit to provide 2 divisions which are focused on those technology-driven areas, there's lots of commonality. So I mentioned earlier that myself and Keith McDonald, the delivery director, work very closely together. We will have, and we do have, slightly different ways of working to accommodate the projects and the services that we deliver, but it rolls up into a common way of working. We have a delivery excellence framework that puts our clients and quality at the forefront of everything that we do, and making sure that we are as efficient and effective, taking the best bits of all those businesses. So
Definitely,
that would be the challenge, because we're still trying to do our day jobs, but we're making time to be thorough in our consideration, our due diligence, and we're still on that journey, but we're making some great inroads and seeing the fruits of our kind of hard work and efforts already coming through. And the idea is that we do have, actually, interestingly, projects that sit between managed service delivery and our digital delivery function, because they're taking multiple services off us, which is great. And that's why it's important that we do have a common approach, a standard way of measuring, reporting,
Definitely,
and achieving delivery excellence. But it's a common goal that we want to achieve, and as I say, we're really working hard towards that and making some good inroads.
I love that, because look, it's one of those ones. It seems, you highlighted code. It seems a long, long time ago now, but we're still talking about it because it, it allowed our businesses to, I suppose, think differently. We had to adapt, change, and not just look at our clients' needs, but look at us as business internally, how we're going to operate and service those customers. And kind of the whole world got twisted upside down. A lot of companies went down under. Some really flourished and accelerated, like Node4. And I think it was a chance to look at what more we could do for our customers
Yes.
in less time. And the companies that embraced that all were already geared up to be able to offer that service overnight again without a huge dramatic change. Did accelerate, which is fantastic. I love the fact you highlighted the acquisition because, Christ, I've heard so many issues over the years of working with so many MSPs that have acquired businesses and they've kind of got 12, 18 months down the line and just gone, help, it's not working. At the time sounded great. You got an MSP acquiring a smaller MSP to complement perhaps a certain area of clients that they've recently won and want to expand on, or it's a particular technology focus that smaller company have, a very niche understanding and specialist expertise in that complements the bigger MSP, etc. But I think sometimes we underestimate how much work there is to do. But I love the fact that you guys are constantly looking at how you can empower that and make that better. I love that. I got culture, I got internal and external, because I think we sometimes underestimate. It's all very well acquiring 2 or 3 businesses over a 3 to 5 year period, but we got to look at the internal systems. We got to look at the cultures. We got to look at the people. Are they happy? And more importantly, you said working on that joined up message. Yeah.
Yes.
And the same statement, go to market, if you like, because there's nothing worse when you see a business acquire a smaller business or multiple other businesses, and then suddenly it's all over the place. Suddenly the message is completely sporadic here, there, and everywhere. And it's just, that's quite dangerous for a business.
Yeah. And I think maybe the perception, and I don't know if I had this perception or not really, the perception may be when you do acquire a business that business folds into the way of working of the an original organization. And I think that's what we've done really, really well. We've been very open-minded to, again, as I alluded to, take the best of each one of our organizations. So if it's a system, a tool, an application, a way of working, then what is best of breed is what we've adopted and what we're still looking to adopt in our approach. And I think that's how we've won the hearts and the minds of the people in our acquisition. We don't refer to those acquisitions as their original entities. We refer to them as their new homes in respect of where they reside now in terms of the technology or the division. But we do have open conversations around, well, this is how we used to do it, because that leads us then into the right questions around how we should be doing it in the future. And I think that mature, grown up approach is what's made it successful for us as an organization.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important. If you're going to acquire a business, you're acquiring a company for a reason that's going to complement what you're doing at the moment. So if you don't understand what they're doing at the moment, what's working, what's not, then what's the point in getting them on board in the first place? I think, what stood out there is that kind of like opinions count, that sort of freedom of speech, bring your ideas to the table that get listened to. It maybe that we steer it in a slightly different direction, but at least it's something that you can, bring that could make a huge change to the overall business and message, right? And I love that. The new home, right? We're acquiring business and then we're not just going to get rid of it. We're going to bring it into our culture, our business, but use what's good. And I love that. And so in terms of, you talked about acquisition, some challenges, making the culture right through acquisition. What's the plans then for the next? I don't know what. When I ask this question, I go, "What's the plans for the next 5 years? What's the plans for the next 12 to 18 months? Let's look at it right now for the wider audience. If someone was interested in Node4, if someone was thinking about coming to you guys from a client point of view, what are your plans if they want to know a little bit more?"
Well, I would suggest building from that solid foundation I mentioned earlier. We've got these 2 kind of divisions now that again are succinct. Really leveraging that. We've really reflected upon where our strengths are, where our opportunities are, So now's a really, really excited time to be part of this journey. We've got a new CEO again, is bringing new ideas, different ways of working. Our founder is now our president, and again, right at the coalface of technology now, speaking with clients. I don't think there's ever been a more exciting time to be part of Node4.
Love that.
But it is literally building from that foundation, settling in the divisions, the ways of working, and we're always, and this is what I like about Node4 more than anything, we never become stagnant. We're always looking for efficiencies, if that's ways of working, tools, techniques. We always want to be ahead of the curve from a technology front. So in our test labs, we've got engineers testing stuff that's not even been launched or productized yet. So that's how committed we are to being leaders in technology and services in all of our different divisions.
Do you know what? I love that. And it just sounds like the foundations are there. You want to build, you want to grow, you want to empower, and you're already looking at sort of technology and solutions that, either other companies aren't doing or aren't out there yet. You know, you've got these guys sitting there in test labs, looking at the next big thing. And I think that's really important because there is a lot of competition in the channel, certainly within the MSP IT solution by the world. And sometimes on the face of it, you look at a website, it can scream the same stuff, right? We're number one leading X, Y, and Z. We partner with, Microsoft, Cisco, X, Y, and Z. And actually, it's important to talk about this. It's important to talk about what you guys are doing differently, how you make an impact, how you make an impression, how you separate yourselves from run-of-the-mill businesses out there just looking to provide a solution to customers. And I love that. And I think it's all about being ahead of the curve and looking at what else we can do, to be better. And like you said, we talked about investing in C-level individuals to empower people like yourself downwards. Also looking at, what the services look like from a division point of view across managed services, across digital. We talked about customers in terms of one hat doesn't fit all. Let's look at where they're at that journey, if at all, and how we can actually look at the best possible solution before even starting to introduce something. I think that's it really stands out at the moment, that sort of quality of first-class service at all times. Customer comes first, right?
Absolutely.
God, the question that no one likes then, let's, I'm going to hit you with the what would you say the USPs are for Node4? Everyone always laughs at that point.
Well, I would suggest, so with the clients that are with us already and stay with us, it's everything that we do is underpinned by if I get this wrong, I'll be in big trouble. Exceptional service as a standard. It's been there from day one. It's everything we think about is linked to that, and we put that. And I suppose it's why I'm still here after 10 years. Is yes, we've got to be a profitable business. Yes, we want to make sure we hit KPIs and targets and so on and so forth. But what I like is that we still have this, even though we're over 1,000 employees now, and going back to when I joined at 55, we still have this kind of small business or kind of like privately kind of engaged partnership with our clients that puts them first. And
love that.
We're always thinking about the client experience. I mean, the amount of client experience even in our framework for delivery, we have something called a client sentiment. Every opportunity, we're asking the client, how do you feel about the product delivery? Because that's what's important to us. So that takes precedence over everything. Exceptional service, making sure that our clients are getting the best level of service from us in all aspects. So in one respect, that is our USP for those that are with us.
Yep.
But effectively, I actually thought about this. So it's a good question because I thought about this, and we've got a new marketing head, and I had a meeting with him last week, and he asked me a similar question, and I referred to us as the Amazon of MSP, and he kind of chuckled at me at that, and he said, "Well, why is that?" I said, "Well," I said, if I think about my consumption journey with Amazon. Initially, I wanted to buy something, and I mean, we're going back probably 6-7 years now when I first started using Amazon for home. I wanted to buy something, and they had a plethora of options, good reviews, or a good level of reviews of the products that I wanted to buy. So I bought something, and then I bought something again. And then over time, I had maybe a few issues with some products that I bought, but the customer experience, in my experience, is really good. So helping you out from a technical triaging perspective, or refunding you or replacing you, no hassle. And my consumption with Amazon now is I don't hardly market test them unless I'm spending a lot of money. I just go to Amazon. In fact, I even speak to my Amazon devices. I probably shouldn't have said that out loud because I've got an Amazon telly behind me.
The music can start going on now, Luke.
Yeah, and just ask them to order stuff for me. So I think we're very similar to them in the MSP world, because once we sell and provide so many services, so we are almost a service technology product provider that can do everything. And once we've provided a service, you know what you're getting. You know the level of reliability, the client experience, we get exceptional service as a standard. We know that we are proactive of keeping the lights on. So I think that in a sense, I don't think we market anything along those lines, but that would be something I would market, because that's
absolutely, I
really
love
much
that.
what we're like.
And I haven't heard that one. Honestly, it's brilliant. I mean, look, first of all, you talk about exceptional service as a standard, right? I mean, absolutely, right? I mean, we should always be thriving to provide an exceptional first-class service to our customers, right? You know, if we don't, they don't come back. And look, we always want to be looking at, you know, long-standing customers where they become a partner, and we look at multiple services and solutions throughout the many years and empower their business to be better, slicker, and quicker, right? And I love that. But look, let's not forget about the journey, like you highlighted beforehand, right? You know, I think a partnership is all about multiple journeys, you know, some small, some long, but the whole time we should always be looking at how we can provide that exceptional service as a standard. And, you know, I thought at one point when you said Amazon as one of the the Amazon of the MSP world, I thought you were going to say because we always deliver. Which you kind of went into a slightly more detailed overview. But look, what stood out there was trust, reliable, you know, on time, you know, anything, you know, from a technology perspective. And let's not underestimate that. That's a hugely powerful tool, you know, and a business that is backed on, you know, exceptional service. And I absolutely love that. And that's what I'm going to personally be using when talking about you guys as well. I think it's brilliant. And you mentioned that you're not sure if the marketing team are already talking about that. They should be, because it's really powerful. And, you know, like I said, I thought you were just going to go because we always deliver, but you've given a really good overview of that. And, yeah, it massively stands out for me. So, and backs up that exceptional service, because, you know, why are we exceptional? You know, why do our clients say it's great? Well, because of the reasons that we talked about just then. And I think that's really brilliant. And I love that. Okay. So we're kind of moving on to, I suppose, most disrupt? What do you think, in your eyes, personally, that's going to disrupt the market from a technology perspective in the next 12 months? You talk about a lot of technologies that you guys offer at the moment.
Yeah,
but what do you believe?
I think security is a big one, but I wouldn't really be able to talk in much detail around security because it's security is secret, right? So you've got to be in the know to know more around the security. But we're really leveraging that area of service at the moment. But
Okay,
I think the easy answer, what most people will probably give, would be AI and Copilot. and do you know what? I'll elaborate a little bit on that, because I do have some concerns with some of this stuff. So we're going back to the acquisitions that we've made, and leveraging what works for us and what can work for us as a wider organization. We've got multiple different tools that we are looking at, can kind of consolidate it from a delivery perspective. We've got Jira, Tempo, we've got Microsoft PSA, but we're really, really close to kind of going down something like the dynamic project operations route, which I think will be a huge game changer for us or for any organization. Being a project manager at heart, I can see what it can do from an end-to-end perspective, but also with Copilot agents kind of plugged into that. I think efficiencies, better ways of working, leveraging automation in every area possible
Yeah.
will just give us that foundation. That will be a game changer, I think, for most organizations. And we want to get ahead of the curve in that respect as well, so that we can make sure we're providing and delivering and those kind of services to our clients as well. But I do have concerns. And the reason I have concerns, I actually spoke about this a couple of weeks ago with our training department, is, for example, the learning journey in my area. We've taken on board graduates, project support officers, coordinators, and apprenticeships as well. And the natural learning journey for those is to take on board activities like taking minutes in a progress and planning meeting, coordinating activities, taking outputs of minutes and coordinating them with other people, joining the meetings, shadowing project managers. But Copilot does that now. We're really leveraging the benefits of Copilot. So it does everything in a very succinct manner, it provides you with your recap. So all of a sudden, we don't need our junior members of staff to do those kind of activities. But that, for me, is part of going back to my own personal career journey. It's the journey that makes you into the person you are today.
Absolutely.
So actually, when we're bringing people in at junior levels and there's no need for them to do those activities, how do we make sure that we are still mentoring and developing the future stars of tomorrow? So I've got some underlying kind of issues and concerns around that. So it's down for us and other organizations, I think, to make sure that we don't cut out some of those core fundamental skills that, again, turn our junior members into the stars of tomorrow.
Do you know what? I love that, and that's the first time someone's actually looked at that from a concern point of view. Because look, yeah, everyone's talking about AI automation, and there are so many businesses embracing it, and some are running a mile, but then coming back to it and using it a little bit. And even from my point of view, InfraView, we use AI automation, and we look to see how we can, I hate using this phrase, but remove some of the grunt work that is easily removed by AI automation. And but it's, for me, it's not instead of, it's to complement what you do at the moment and get you quicker to that human interaction, right? My biggest concern was, well, suddenly we're just going to have everyone sitting there just setting up sequences, just doing loads of sort of automation where there is no interaction with humans, there's no client meetings, there's nothing, and we just suddenly just pop up at the end and actually don't really know each other. Because how can you actually get to know someone by sort of back and forth sequences that have been set up, or automation that's removed all the sort of day-to-day administrative duties, like you said. I love that. Are we now cloning people when they come into the industry as apprentices or juniors to be the end result quicker with no substance behind it? So I think we need to be aware of that, right? How are we, if suddenly things do change and we don't need it, don't use it, or something else comes into play that's bigger and better, and they've kind of been sort of trained and educated one particular way that hasn't given them any sort of self-sufficient ability. Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah, really interesting that, because I'm hearing so many companies at the moment that are just purely looking at it from a client point of view. It's like, well, let's look at it internally first. Let's introduce, AI automation, Copilot. Let's almost like build a mini case study internally, and then we can use that to then introduce to our customers. But no one, as you mentioned, what you've just said there, let's not underestimate the concerns or potential problems if we are giving it to the more junior type people, or people that are entering our world for the first time, and they're missing out on those sort of, 12, 18, 2-3 years, worth of practical proven experience. So yeah, it's a really interesting thought, and something that I'm definitely going to be bringing up myself, actually, because the last thing we want to do is get down the line and then them just be actually, dare I say it, a robot with no substance behind it. So yeah, interesting. Okay, cool. I think just before we move on to a little bit more about you, it's something that I'm always intrigued to know, and it's something that pops up all the time: culture. Okay, how do we build the perfect culture? Or, how do we get people to interact, build that teamship, if you like. Because, we talked about COVID, we talked about AI automation, we've talked about remote working, and, certainly from an MSP world, you're either UK wide, Europe, or globally. Just in your eyes, I mean, how do you or Node4 bring that culture or create that culture?
Well, this might not surprise you, but I am a massive data person.
Right.
I live and breathe data.
Perfect.
But that feeds into the kind of cultural drive, I suppose. But one of my most irritating sayings, which I use quite often, is if you can't measure it, you can't manage it.
Love it.
And I use this so many times
Yeah.
in conversations. But I mean, look, tooling's important, the right application. So I mentioned Microsoft Direct Project Operations is something we're looking to consider and leverage. But things like targets and I mean, I love gamification, right?
Okay.
I in my area, I've got 4 portfolio managers that manage their own teams, and they're not split in any shape or form due to experience or technology. They're just naturally split. So I've got a senior management team that are driving towards goals and opportunities. Now, the KPIs that we work towards, I created something about 3 or 4 months ago called a VP scorecard, volumes and performance. And what I wanted to do with that is create something that they can work towards that is achievable. And achievable in the sense of they are forecasting what they're planning to achieve in a period of time. Now, that can be revenue driven. It can be so projects closed, projects complete, startup projects. And what we do is reflect upon the size of their backlog. So look at the size of the backlog, and then we're looking for trends. So typically, let's say, for example, if they are delivering between 20 and 10% of their backlog revenue on a month-by-month basis, they know that that's their sweet spot with the X amount of projects and the X amount of members of their team. But it also lends itself to some fun gamification. So when we have our monthly engagement meeting, those portfolio managers bring, some of them bring a bit of automation, a bit of fun into their slides, but they're representing their team and they're proud of their team. They know that we represent our division. They know that they represent Node4, but actually, all of them are constantly driving towards meeting their targets and competing against each other and competing against the other portfolio managers. And one of them, actually, she calls out each month is my star biller, is my star completer, is my star client experience lead, and so on and so forth. So I think unless you have something to work towards each day, each week, each month, then you're just turning the crank, aren't you? You're part of a cog in a system. So making it exciting, making it something that you can contribute towards and actually feeling like you've made a difference. If that is performance driven, if it's a client calling you out for doing a great job, if it's a colleague, we have a board where we celebrate interactions with colleagues helping out and stuff. So we are so positive driven around positive behaviors. And it's meaningful, and it really does get people to kind of really leverage that. We're all in this together. We all wear a Node4 badge. We're all looking to serve our clients in the best way possible. We're all driving towards exceptional service as a standard. Delivery excellence is everything we think about from morning till night when we're at work, and I do when I'm outside of work, unfortunately. But but now I think that's important in a team, is motivating them to be able to feel like they are making a difference and can see them making a difference.
Do you know what? I love that. I was writing down some things that sort of stood out, and it was funny, driven by data, right? And it doesn't matter what organization you work for, what sector you work in, right? And it's like KPIs. Where am I going with this? So again, an example. So it's an example of. I just love the way you're delivering. So you're using data to deliver excellence and positivity. I mean, that's fantastic, right? You're giving them an opportunity to take accountability and responsibility for their own, achievements and their own customers, and whether it be wins, whether it be service, whether it be whatever. But if you haven't got the data there, how can we actually look at what success looks like, or where can we look at where potentially more work needs to be done? where extra support is needed, etc. And if I'm honest, as a recruitment owner, it's probably the biggest pain of my life. It's the hardest thing is to get your whole business to live and breathe the CRM all day, at every single point, right? And we have this saying, if there's no data, it didn't happen. If it's not on the CRM, it didn't happen, right? But I think what you captured perfectly well is if it's delivered in the right way, okay, so whether it's a target being set, an objective being set, whether it's KPIs on a daily, monthly, yearly basis, whatever, if it's driven in the right way, with the right manner, as one team, yes, people want to beat each other. And yes, there's going to be, that want to be to the top of the leaderboard, want to, be better than my colleague, etc. But I think you can still create a teamship, a collaborative environment, still moving in the same direction together as one, as Node4, always sitting there thinking about the number one aim is to deliver an exceptional service. And I love that. So we're using the data to look at positivity and excellence through delivery, right? And that's so important because, yes, you will build the perfect culture and team, where everyone's all thriving to be, yes, the best, but collectively always thinking, Node4, we're wearing this badge, we're focused on the service. I love that. I absolutely love that. And again, it's something that, at InfraView, we live and breathe that as well. Kind of one of our values, one team, right? Love the journey and, always thrive to be better. So, that's brilliant. Cool. There are such great insights there, and I absolutely love this. And there's so much there around the business, the culture, the services, the technology. Let's make it a little bit more. Let's bring it back to you before we've probably got a few more questions before we finish things off. But I suppose what's your biggest career success? I know there's so many, Luke. I know it's going to be difficult.
God, yeah. What would
it be?
It would be. Setting up your own organization at 22 years old is no easy feat. That absolutely shaped me into the person.
And getting it to where you got it to. What did you say earlier? Was it 37 people?
37 people.
37.
Just took my first £1 million contract.
Yeah.
I was nationally. So that was. I didn't really know the difference between leadership and management at that time, but from reflecting now, looking back, I was a natural leader in that sense, taking on board the things that I've just spoke about, really trying to influence to get the best out of people rather than coming down hard around like hard targets. Yeah, so that would be an easy one. Again, delivering iconic projects like World First and so on and so forth. A good, but I would probably say actually the role just over 2 years ago. As we started to bring acquisitions together, I took on a role at Node4 as Group Governance Quality Assurance Director, and that was predominantly working across all of the business units, trying to bring best in class of our service, ways of working, efficiencies, process applications, really delving into the how do we do stuff, why do we do stuff, and then shaping that into what we could be doing in terms of opportunities, bring all those things together. And I suppose so I really enjoyed that. I think if I look back at my career, and I did actually chuckle about this. I never thought about it until recent. I'm known as a fixer, and it's not necessarily a problem that needs to be fixed, but I've just got this mindset to be open-minded, really understand how something's operating, and see the opportunities on how things could operate. And I look back at my whole career. I've taken on teams that have not been performing very well, setting up new teams. I've done that a number of times. I've just set up a new revenue recognition team recently as well. I've just got that drive towards getting the best out. And do you know what it is underpinned by? Common sense. Yeah. Common sense and leveraging the people that you've got around you, understanding how they operate, why they operate that way, and really teasing out of them the opportunities that could make things more efficient and effective. So I really enjoyed that role. I did that for nearly nearly 2 years. But the reason why I think it's successful, I didn't actually mention this at the beginning. Before I started my apprenticeship, I had a part-time role at the co-op, and I started off just doing general bits and bobs, and they saw that I was very diligent with kind of coordination, thorough with kind of processing things. Funny enough,
Yeah.
so I was given a role of deli quality manager or something like that. Basically, the deli department. I was inventory, stuff on shelves in date and so on and so forth. But at the age of 15, 16, that was a big task, really, and I did it comfortably, competently. But actually, did I think 30 years later I'd be doing another quality assurance role? No, I didn't. So I think maybe that's probably a call out, just because I started off with proper, besides the paper round, my very first proper job being a quality assurance manager, to actually being a very pivotal role at Node4 for nearly 2 years.
No, look, listen, I love that. And I think everything that we do, as long as we do it with passion and we give it our 100% all, right? Good things are going to happen. Yeah, we're going to, again, come across the issues, the problems, fail, overcome it. That's the journey that we talked about. And, I wrote down common sense, right? I think we underestimate that. And I think we forget about that when interviewing people at any level, whether you're an apprentice or a CTO, right? If you're joining a business and you're going into, whether it be a new area or looking to empower your existing experience in a new job, it's like, we need common sense, because sometimes it's very logic and it's straightforward, but we are focused on skills, experience, or certifications, qualifications, etc. But actually just taking that step back, removing yourself from the situation and just thinking logically, using that common sense, what's your next step's going to be. I love that. And I mean, look, certainly your background, we talked about that, right? It's not the typical, right, I started here doing an IT course and then went up, etc. There was, loads of different sort of opportunities for you to, I suppose, get you to where you are today. And it's a super impressive background. You've achieved a huge amount, and fair play as well for setting up your business at 22 and getting that to 37. So that's and look, that's what's taken you to where you are today, and you'll be able to utilize those skills and experience, probably what you didn't even know you had, that you're now using to empower others in your role at Node4, which I love. And that's definitely coming out today, the opportunity to give back to people that are less experienced to you, to see them coming through the channels and better themselves in their careers. So okay, cool. And then in terms of what advice do you have for others, looking to get into tech?
I wouldn't let not having technical experience put you off by any means. Well, if you think in any tech organization, I mean, Node4 in particular, we've got some unbelievable technical people, but we have a sales department, we have a HR people department, we have a project delivery department, and it goes on and on and on. I think what I've really embraced in my tenure at Node4 is that there's been members of my team that I've recruited that have moved on into other areas of Node4. So service delivery management, for example, for in ITSM and life run services. But equally, I've had members that have come into my team that have got no project management experience, but lots of transferable skills. And look at me 10 years later, I didn't have any true experience with the services that we provide at the moment when I joined Node4, and I'm leading a division that delivers that. So do not let it put you off. Tech is the new world. Tech is the world that we're in, that we're going to be in for a very long time. Definitely. And is leading the way the world is shaped. So don't let it put you off, I would suggest. And if you see an opportunity, you want to embrace it, give it a go. There's one good thing about tech, is that there's never, ever 2 days the same. Every day is interesting. Every day is exciting. And what we deliver today, we probably won't deliver tomorrow, because it's that fast and that evolving.
Love that. Yeah, I mean, look, embrace it, give it your best shot, have the willingness to give it your all. And then what stood out there was being open-minded, because it is ever-changing, and you might start one area. Well, you might join one area of technology that actually you don't fall in love with, or you're not an architect or an engineer, and you want to be a manager and a leader and deliver service, etc. So there is so much opportunity, certainly in the MSP world as well, right? The pace, the urgency, the opportunity to work with multiple customers. Everything's sort of live, and yeah, it's ever changing. We are Paul pillar to post. Well, or you guys are. I feel like I'm living and breathing your world now. I don't even work in that space, but yes, I speak to people that do all day, every day. All right, cool. So Luke, we are getting to a point where I'm going to probably get into a bit of a quick fire questions. Before I do, I just got a burning desire to ask: how do you handle sort of, I suppose, the changing demands of tech? 'Cause you just mentioned there that if you were giving advice to people that, don't be put off, embrace change, or, be the best version of yourself. But how do you go about, sort of, how would you handle the changing demands of tech personally?
Well, that's an easy question to answer. That we're set up very maturely in that sense. So we have something called the Office of the CTO.
Okay.
I work closely with them. So any new products or services that we are looking to provide as a service to our clients, we do our due diligence. We template how we would deliver that from a config, a test perspective. We even put together baseline project Gantt charts, risk registers. So we want to make sure that we've got the time and the headspace to be diligent around that service, but also being cognizant that it is new. So we're open and honest with clients. If it's the first time we're delivering something, usually they want to be ahead of the curve anyway, so we'll partnership in that respect. But our clients do actually bring things to us that we've not delivered or provided before, so it goes through the same process, albeit it'll be accelerated if there's a compelling time frame around that. So I think we're really mature in that space. And again, going back to the recent changes in our organisation, with Richard Mosley leading the day-to-day of the business now as our CEO, and our founder, Andrew Gilbert, now getting right at the coalface again with technology, with our clients. I'm expecting that to be have almost a new lease of life, if you like, and I would expect there to be more new products and services coming through our Octo service.
Sounds super exciting, mate. And yeah, it's lovely to hear that. Like, again, you've mentioned this founder and the new CTO, and sort of almost like technically led from the top, which I think is really important in our space, right? People that are always looking to embrace new technology, look at what is cutting edge, what's going to enhance our capabilities internally, externally for our customers. And no, awesome. Right, let's get some quick fire questions before we wrap things up. I'm just going to fire them at you. So 3 people you would most like to invite to dinner. 2 or 3.
It can be anybody, right?
It could be anyone, dead or alive.
Okay. Do you know what? I'll go for Ant Middleton as the first person.
Yes,
and
I'm coming.
He is a bit of a legend for me, and I mean, some of his TV shows I'm not too keen. I've got to be honest, but so I read his book, his autobiography, and
Me too.
what a guy in terms of like resilience, mind over matter, leadership. And it was at the time, actually, some years ago, I was doing a CMI, Chartered Management Institute diploma in leadership, and there was so much correlation with that. So yeah, it'd be good to kind of dig into a bit more detail with that Ant Middleton. That'd be interesting.
So have you read the Fear Bubble? Have you read that one?
I haven't.
Yeah. No. It's just that's on my desk as well. So it's funny. I've been bought his original and that one as well. So
is it first man in or something like that?
Yeah. So yeah, harness fear and live without limits, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, the fact that 2 different people have bought me that, so I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm hoping it's good. I'm gonna take the positive side of it. But cool. Yes, and definitely. Who else?
So if we can go anybody, so sticking with books, I'm not an avid reader by any means, but the only novels that really got me hooked was from Dan Brown and Robert Langdon. What a guy! Obviously, as a fictional character, but I think I'm
Well,
secretly
is that angels and
yeah,
demons? Right.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
it just, I mean, that was the first one I read actually, but I've read all of his books. In fact, there's a new one out now that I forget what it's called, but it's on my list. But yeah, I mean, the link to ancient kind of symbols and stuff, it's really, really, it'd be interesting to have a more detailed conversation around that with that
Well, I think
fictional
Apple spent a
legend.
long time with him trying to get in his head, but probably failed with that one. Bearing in mind, I don't know if he's real.
Yeah, no, there we go. And I suppose the last one then, I'm a massive sports fan, big Liverpool fan, big boxing fan. I used to actually go to Ricky Hatton before he retired. I actually went to Vegas to watch him fight Pacquiao,
Oh,
which didn't
which
last
didn't end
long.
well. The
But I
famous left hook.
know. But I'd probably go. Do you know what? I'd go for Tyson Fury. He's a bit Marmite. It absolutely it brings me to my knees with tears, with laughter. He is so funny. But in my personal opinion, he is probably the greatest technical boxer that I mean, Muhammad Ali's probably up there. Dare I compare them? But certainly in current day and age, he has got to be the best technical boxer. And what a unit! What an absolute
Right.
unit to be as fluid. And when you watch him, when you look back at his fights, how he changes the fights technically and his game plan. But again, he's another absolute advocate of kind of mind over matter. He's had his own challenges, and people are really inspire me. I'm a massive glass half full guy. I always look for the positive in things, and I probably
100%.
irritate people by that. But I always think there's a way. There's always a way. Always an opportunity. So those guys inspire me in that respect. And
Yeah,
and
I mean, look,
if it's a round table, at Middleton, Tyson Fury together, that would be interesting. Wouldn't it? They'd probably be having an arm
they
wrestle.
probably have a little spar as well. Yeah, I mean, look, I could sit here all day actually, but I won't talk about Tyson Fury. Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I mean, what a guy. You know, what he's been through, how he's come out the other side, his ups and downs, and all that kind of good stuff. But you know, we talk about sort of bounce back ability. I mean, he's absolutely proven that when he hit the deck with Wilder, but also now. Are we going to see him again? Who knows? I mean, it depends if they fork out, half a
Silly
billion
amount
quid
of money.
for what's his face, Joshua. But I don't know if I want to see that anyway. But okay, cool. Microsoft or Apple?
Well, Microsoft at work, and absolutely that's what we leverage. But I'm loyal to Apple at home, and actually Amazon as well at home. So we as a family, we've had Apple devices from day one, and what you probably are aware of, they get you into this family account. So we have shared accounts with storage. So all of our photos from iPhone 3, I think I had the first iPhone. So we're massive on Apple at home. But saying that, you might have heard it earlier. I've got a Google doorbell, and I've got Amazon devices all the way through the house, all interacted. So yeah, I'm quite loyal to Apple and Amazon.
You said the right thing. Microsoft work, Apple, and multiple other devices or tech when we look to make our house all, jazzed up. Cool. Okay. Degree or apprenticeship?
Well, given that I went through the apprentice, so do you know what? When I'm looking for recruitment heads, I'm looking for experience more than anything. And I genuinely feel in today's day and age, we've got some really good grads. They are absolutely like smart cookies. We give them jobs, they learn from it, they're ready for the next one. But I think in terms of longevity, certainly in a tech world, actually apprenticeships are giving them both academic and hands-on skills. And I think we need to leverage that more because, like we've talked about, today's technology is not tomorrow's. So you can learn the basics and the fundamentals of coding and software generally and infrastructure, but it's changing. So if you're learning on the job whilst doing an apprenticeship, you're applying the academics with real life experience. So I've got a 16-year-old who's actually going to do a technology T level actually at college straight after school this year. He wants to then go down the technology route, and I will be encouraging him to take on an apprenticeship rather than go to uni.
Love it, leaning towards that way. Okay, so one thing, whether it be a passion or a hobby that most people don't know about you.
Oh God, I am. Most people don't know about me. So you're certainly inside work. People won't know that I am. Would I say I'm a hoarder? No, I'm not a hoarder. I have a massive passion for upcycling and recycling. My biggest and bestest creations have been from what's in front of me. I mean, I wish I could show you outside at the moment. I'm building a big pergola summer house. We had a big kind of garden room that were full of garden equipment and lawnmower and stuff. And I had two sleepers left from a project that I did internally, and those sleepers cost me £20 each.
Oh my word!
And because I didn't want to waste those £20 each sleepers, I'm probably about £5,000 deep in materials for this big thing I'm building, and everything is upcycled, recycled. It's how I express myself, I suppose. It gets you away from computers, gets you away from
Definitely.
the TV, the telephone, and speaking with people, because that's what I do all day. So that's my hobby, I suppose.
Yeah, break yourself away from them. From the work madness. Okay, cool. Best thing about the channel. In one sentence.
Transparency.
Love it. Hardest thing about working in the channel.
Expectations.
Love it. And a motto that you live by.
Oh, it's got to be that statement. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it.
Love it. Perfect. Last one. Fine. So one thing you would like to have known, when you began your career.
Jesus, getting in IT early, because what a world it is. I would have definitely got into IT from an earlier age, but again, the one thing that I really live by is an advice I would give anybody starting halfway through their career journey: just try and be the best that you can possibly be in the role that you are doing. That will create opportunities. Don't look too high, too far, too early. Be the best, and that will give you the grounding for the next step, the next opportunity. I've met many people over the years that are at a level in terms of accreditations or status in terms of roles that is quite clear they've not got the grounding and the foundations to be the person that they are trying to be. So that would be my biggest advice. Embrace what you're doing today and be the best at what you can be.
Luke, awesome. We have come to the end, mate, which I have to say has been absolutely amazing. Honestly, look, there's some huge, amazing insights from, again, what you guys do, your services, the visions, USPs, the focus from a technology perspective, loads out there. I just want to look once again, thank you so much for your time, mate. Amazing insights. And for everyone that has tuned in, if you would like to know anything more about what you've heard today, if you want to comment or reach out to Luke direct, all his details will be below. Furthermore, please subscribe to InfraViewing and reach out to me direct if you'd like to go under the spotlight. Once again, Luke, you've been absolutely amazing. Fantastic overview there of you and the business. And if you are a customer or a candidate that's interested to know more about Node4, please get in touch, because they're an absolute game-changing business. Thanks, Luke.
Really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Have a good day.